New horror story. My daughter says her friend teaches her games. At 3 a.m. The knocking started 3 days after we moved into the house on Elm Street. Tap, tap, tap. Always 3 knocks, always from inside the walls, always at 2:33 a.m. My wife Sarah thought it was the old pipes settling, but pipes don't knock in perfect rhythm like someone asking permission to come in. It's probably just the house adjusting, she said, pulling the covers over her head. These old places make all kinds of noises. But I lay awake listening to those deliberate knocks moving through our walls like something was walking the perimeter of our bedroom, testing for weaknesses. By the second week, the knocking had spread throughout the house. Kitchen cabinets would rap 3 times while we ate dinner. The bathroom door would knock from the inside while Sarah showered. Our 4-year-old daughter Emma started talking about the knock-knock man who lived in her closet. He's very polite, Emma told us over breakfast, her small hands sticky with syrup. He always knocks before he comes to visit. Sarah and I exchanged worried glances. Kids had active imaginations, but something about Emma's matter-of-fact tone made my skin crawl. The knocking evolved into other sounds. Footsteps in the attic when we were all downstairs. Whispers that seemed to come from the heating vents. The sound of furniture being dragged across floors in empty rooms. I called the previous owners, an elderly couple who'd lived in the house for 40 years before moving to Florida. When I mentioned the noises, the line went quiet for so long I thought the call had dropped. "You need to leave," the old man finally whispered. "We should have told you, but we needed to sell. We couldn't stay another night." "What are you talking about?" "It feeds on attention," he said, his voice shaking. "Every time you acknowledge it, every time you respond to the noises, it gets stronger." We learned too late. By the end, the line went dead. I tried calling back, but their number had been disconnected. That night, the sounds escalated. Dishes crashed in the kitchen while we slept. Books flew off shelves. Emma's toys moved by themselves, creating elaborate patterns across her bedroom floor. When we ran downstairs to investigate, everything would be perfectly normal. Except for the sound of slow applause coming from somewhere we couldn't locate. "We need to ignore it," I told Sarah. "The previous owner said it feeds on attention." But ignoring a poltergeist is easier said than done when it's slamming doors and turning lights on and off like a strobe. When it starts playing Emma's music box at 3 a.m., winding it again and again until the melody becomes a maddening loop that drives sleep away. Sarah started talking to it. Late at night, when she thought I was asleep, I'd hear her whispering into the darkness. "What do you want? Why won't you leave us alone?" The house would answer with 3 gentle knocks, like it was pleased she'd finally engaged. That's when things got worse. Emma started sleepwalking. We'd find her standing in the hallway in the middle of the night, carrying on full conversations with empty air. When we asked her about it, she'd say she was talking to her friend who was teaching her games. "What kind of games?" Sarah asked. "The kind where you do what the voice tells you," Emma said with a bright smile. "He says if I'm really good at the games, I get to stay awake forever and ever." Objects began appearing in impossible places. Our car keys materialized inside the refrigerator. Family photos showed up buried in the garden. Sarah's wedding ring appeared in Emma's toy box, though she'd been wearing it when she went to bed. But the worst was what it did to our electronics. Our phones would dial random numbers in the middle of the night, and when the confused strangers answered, they'd hear Emma's voice saying things like, "Help me," and "It won't let me sleep" before the line went dead. The security cameras I installed to catch evidence of the paranormal activity showed something that made my blood freeze. In the footage, our house appeared empty. No furniture, no family photos, no signs that anyone lived there. But we could hear our own voices in the audio, having conversations with people who didn't exist in the video. According to the timestamp, we'd been living in an empty house for 3 months. I called the real estate agent who'd sold us the house, demanding answers. She laughed nervously and said we'd never bought any house from her. When I insisted, she checked her records and went quiet. "Sir," she said slowly, "according to our files, the house on Elm Street burned down 15 years ago. There's nothing there but an empty lot. I'm writing this from what I think is our kitchen, though I can't be sure anymore. The walls keep changing. Sometimes they're the cheerful yellow Sarah painted them. Sometimes they're charred black wood that crumbles when I touch it. Emma hasn't slept in 6 days. She just stands in her room, swaying slightly, having animated conversations with something I can't see. When I try to pick her up, my hands pass right through her. Sarah keeps insisting we need to feed it more attention, give it what it wants so it will leave us alone, but I'm starting to understand what the previous owner meant. We didn't move into a haunted house. We moved into something else entirely. Something that's been feeding on us for months, growing stronger with every interaction, every acknowledgement of its presence. And now it's strong enough to create its own reality, one where we live in a house that doesn't exist, raising a daughter who might not be real, having conversations with a wife who may have never been there at all. The knocking is starting again. 3 polite taps asking permission. But this time, it's not coming from the walls. It's coming from inside my head. Thank you for listening. If you really like the story, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more daily horror stories. Thanks.